If you are in sales or want to get into sales and you feel like you're not operating at the level that you want to be at, you're coming out of calls emotionally drained. But here we are again. It's been a month since I posted my last video, and I made a commitment when I started posting that I was going to do one every single week until the end of the year without fail. And here we are. Yes, I left the country, was traveling Europe, and was really split between, do I stay present and just enjoy where I am and all of those good things, or do I carve out the time to dial in, get my shit done, and make sure I'm doing what I'm doing? Basically, me bouncing back and forth between those two thought processes left me doing nothing. That is probably a big reason why most people procrastinate, is just overanalyzation, and that's something that stood in the way. But above anything else, the other thing that stood in the way is being able to really and clearly and effectively communicate what I want to communicate, which is, in a big part, letting you guys know more about who I am, the things that I've gone through, my experiences, and a lot of these other factors that I have trouble putting into content, because I feel like the content needs to be so informational and educational, and I want to help people so much that I focus maybe too much on that. And if I just break down the wall a little bit, maybe there's some level of ego involved there, of really wanting to separate myself from the crowd, of show my unique perspectives to things, because that is something that I pride myself on. I see the world in a specific way, and I analyze so much clearly to a fault. But that also comes with the fact that I think through things very uniquely from what I've been told. And yes, I've always been told as well that in a big way it gets in my way, because it's that paralysis again, by analyzing all these different things and looking 10 steps ahead. And that's probably why I love chess so much. In any case, where I've come to is really leaning into thinking about my experiences, the things that make me who I am, and then also figuring out how can I position that in a way where it's valuable to you, and be able to clearly communicate things that I've done in a way where someone might resonate and think, I could use that perspective. Because really my only purpose with doing everything that I do is to touch the people around me in a positive way and help them be better. And in that process, I get something in return, which is I get to continuously be better in service of them and for myself and my family and all the goals that I want to achieve. So with that being said, one thing that's been on the top of my mind, and first I'll preface it with a little bit of my experience, but what that is sales. A little bit about me and my background. So yes, prior to high school, you can go and watch my origin story video, so to speak. I'll leave it in the description, link below. If you want to know on a deeper level, all the way from the beginning up until now, a little bit more about me, go and watch that. But more specifically, coming out of college, still finding my way in the world, lacking a lot of self-confidence, not being able to even go up to girls or grab a number here or there, or go out to a bar and initiate a conversation. That has historically been a huge issue for me. And yet, coming out of college, I took some space, went and traveled in Australia for about a month, came back to face COVID. And throughout that time, I was building a basketball training business and putting myself out there in a lot of ways. But one of the shifts that I made was getting into sales, in a sales role. Everyone was like, oh, you should either be a lawyer because you like to argue so much, or you should be in sales because you could be good at it. You understand people very well and all those things that I pride myself on, emotional intelligence, all those things. And my sports background, people loved that, and they thought I should be in sales. So whether it was financial advising and all those wealth management, all those routes that people were kind of reaching out to me for. But I did none of that. I went into retail and I started working for Lululemon. Fast forward, I was working there for about 5 years, and even stayed working there as I moved down to Miami, which many people might not know, but I did that because I felt like it was a great environment to meet the type of people that I wanted to meet that were coming into the store in Brickell. And it was a great kind of side gig. I got to take my calls, do my coaching, and then pop into Lulu and enjoy a nice discount, connect with a lot of people. But the reason why I originally started that job was to develop my personal skills. But beyond that, the actual, my love for the technical aspects of the product, that's something that Lululemon prides themselves on a lot, is the technical aspects of the product. And I know we're talking about fabrics here, but that was something that I really attached to, and I really sought to grow in that way and better my understanding for reading a situation, understanding someone coming into the store, and really being able to help them and educate them so well on something through knowing what it is that they are looking for and what they need, to where I actually led that store in sales. It actually pushed us to one of the top 10 stores as far as volume in the country. I felt a lot of success there and had a really good time being able to sell a lot of stuff. So there's some competition in there that kept me going. But beyond anything else, here's why I'm saying all this. If you are someone that's looks at a sales role and you see maybe all this opportunity in high ticket and this role or that, or life insurance and all these things that exist out there, all these opportunities, but then you think, oh, but I don't want to be a pushy car salesman type of guy, a sleazy, scummy salesperson. I hate that. Well, I was in your shoes, and that was a big part of what pushed me away from the wealth management and the financial services and all this kind of stuff that I just I didn't want to shove down people's throat. And that's the way I interpreted sales. But honestly, through Lululemon, a big part of my transformation there was really understanding, okay, first of all, it's just fucking clothes at the end of the day. I don't need to shove it down anyone's face if they don't want it. But I can use some level of strategy via emotional intelligence and leading through service or selling through service, establish that trust with anyone coming in the store to let them see that I don't care if you buy anything today or not. If you are interested in something, I am here to make sure and educate you on exactly what it is that you should be walking out the door with. So this was, my early 20s coming out of college. Again, you'll learn in my other video, I was also spread thin across a lot of other things. That is an area that I really led with through everything that I've done. And so to go a little bit deeper on something that I haven't talked about too much either, when I moved to Miami, I found myself surrounded by a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners that, of course, were selling different products. And so I went through an evolution of starting to work with a lot of those people and really helping them understand how to sell at a higher level. And just a couple months of being here, I got connected with a friend of a friend, and they needed someone to come in and basically improve their sales processes, and great experience. So that was an opportunity for me to get into the high ticket space. Now I was selling packages anywhere from $20,000 on the lowest end all the way up to $80,000 on the high end. So on an average, I was selling $40,000 to $60,000 investments. And that's not something that people just come in and buy easily. When you get to that range, there are certain type of clientele that are more attracted to that opportunity. And so therefore, there's a bit of nuance in understanding who that person is, what ego someone like that would have, someone that has $60,000 liquid. Surprisingly, there are also people on the very opposite side of things that we're holding on to their last $20,000 to $40,000. When it comes to that, a lot of people can get caught up very easily by this whole high ticket closing space. I just wanted to give you that context, as I'm very familiar selling high ticket packages. I mean, my coaching is a high ticket service in itself, and that's one thing. But when we talk about that $60,000 investments, I was able to convert and sell a decent bit of them. Brought in multiple six figures and had a good stretch learning at that range, which was something that was very new to me at the time. And I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot stepping away from it to kind of move on to something else. It didn't feel in my gut how I wanted to feel. The specific industry I was in was facing some issues and it didn't feel right to me. It wasn't how I wanted to connect with people. So the reason I'm sharing this is because there might be a lot of people, either you're in sales and you're experiencing this and you're a high ticket closer and you're like, fuck, I feel like I'm pressuring people to do something that they don't really want to do, and I'm using these word tracks and tactics and objection handling and all these verbal linguistic frameworks and all those things. Now, as much as anyone, I understand the power of language, but what I realized is words are 10% of how we communicate. Technically 7%. That's around roughly 90 to 93% of all of our communication is nonverbal. And that's through emotion, that's through tone, that's through body language. I'm trying to say the perfect thing so that they feel like they should buy, and then that's not going to work. And so really, one of the frustrating things that I've been seeing is like all of these frameworks and tactics and all these things that simply just lead someone to getting into that field or getting into the closing space and feeling like a scumbag because they're just saying the perfect things to elicit a certain response, to do this, but then they come out of the call and then they question, well, shit, did I just do something morally righteous, and did I really help this person, or did I just kind of force them into something? Maybe that's you, maybe it's not. If you're selling something that you truly genuinely believe in, hopefully you never experience that. And I definitely encourage anyone, if you are selling something, make sure that it is something that you embody and stand by. Otherwise, you will not be able to sell energetically from a place of service and true conviction. And you have to rely on some of those tactics and sleazy things that make you not feel so good, because you have to just sell the thing that you're hired to sell. So I avoid that like the plague, and I suggest that anyone else does. Where I'm really rambling on about here and why I'm making this video is, A, just to get something out for you guys and speak from the dome a little bit. Also to say, if you are in sales or want to get into sales and you feel like you're not operating at the level that you want to be at, you're coming out of calls emotionally drained because you're putting so much effort into making sure that you present a certain way. Maybe you are learning how to use certain body language and tone and stuff like that, but that all takes conscious energy, and conscious energy drains the hell out of you. If you're spending so much time staying aware of how you're presenting something, A, yes, it's going to drain you. B, you're going to give off an energy that's going to put off the buyer or the client or the customer. So the more that you are able to ground yourself in something that you truly believe in, come from a place of wanting to help someone, come from a place of empathy and really seeking understanding and being able to interpret and understand the person's personality profile. Like I said, their ego, are they type A, type B? How do they operate? How do they want to be sold to? Some people are very logical. They just need to know X to Y to Z, cross the T's, dot the I's, all these things. Other people, everyone buys through emotion and then justifies the decision through logic. But a lot of people, more than others, will also simply just buy based on a connection. The service, whatever it is, they're clear, they're more primed to buy. They might just simply make a decision based on you building up enough trust, having the right conversation with them to make them feel good about it. And so being able to read where someone's at through that, and also through asking the right questions, which is a big thing as well, is trying to ask questions rather than just tell them about the product. Here's my shiny object, buy it because of all these features. No, but by being able to understand how that can actually apply to them, that's something that's going to break them down and be able to get them to a place of wanting to buy because of you, the person that they're talking to. People don't buy from businesses or buy products for products. They buy from people that they like and trust, especially when it comes to services. Now, if you're selling a random product that doesn't require a face or anything like that, then this doesn't apply. But when it comes to especially higher end services or anything like that, people buy from people. Where that also leads is a journey of self-discovery and self-development. Is you need to become the best version of you in order to present yourself and have someone want to buy from you. And, everyone's going to always be on that journey, and there's always things to uncover. But a big part of that is understanding your own internal system, your goals, your vision, your values, the things that really drive you, and being able to be clear on that, and even using personal experience to explain to someone how you might be able to relate to them or certain commonalities that you can tap into with them. So again, this video isn't meant to be like a tutorial on how to be the best salesperson, all those things. If that is something that you're interested though, I definitely encourage you to DM me Clarity on Instagram, and you'll get a framework for my Clarity Code Playbook, which is really how to understand that internal operating system and operate at a high level. But what we can go into on a more deeper level personally is how that applies to you, how you can unleash that potential, whether you're an entrepreneur growing your business and needing to convert sales in your own service, or whether you're a sales professional or a realtor wanting to get more listings and all those things. That's something I'd love to talk about. But the purpose of this video is also to help you understand a little bit more about me and basically give you the call to action to say, if there's something in your gut that says, this isn't clicking for me right now, I got to make a change, I got to improve, do some of that digging into yourself. I have plenty of free resources that I can offer. You can DM me. You can also go through any of my links and find a way to my calendar. What I care about is connecting, and so I'll leave you with that for now. If anything piqued your interest, if you want to know more about me and you want to continue seeing what I'm doing, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this channel, and go ahead, follow me on Instagram at Jesse H. Hoffman. DM me if you feel inclined, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.